Welcome back, Math 10. Today we are going to learn how to multiply a monomial by a polynomial. So we're going to start here by using algebra tiles, which rhymes with smile, so let's have some fun with this. So our first question, we have 2 multiplied by x plus 1. So I'm going to get 2 here. I want 1, and red's positive, 2, okay? And we want to multiply that by x plus 1. So there I have my 2, and we're going to multiply it by x plus 1. So we have x, and I want a 1. Okay? Now if we review this, this here stands for x squared, this is x, and this is 1. And these clear are going to be negatives. The colored ones, 1, x, and x squared, are going to be positives. So let's multiply this out. Now I want this height multiplied by this width. What is that going to give me? That's going to end up giving me one of these. That height and that width. Then we do it again right here. So I have the same height and width. Okay? Now we're going to have to multiply this height by this width. Okay? So we go, this height and that width gives us that. Then we do it one more time. The height and width will give us that. So my answer for this is equal to 2x's plus 2. Okay? Notice how I went this multiplied by both this and this. So there's 2 here. We multiply these 2 by this and we multiply by that. Let's try our next one here. Alright, so our next one is negative 3 multiplied by x minus 1. So I want negative 3, so I'm going to have to put these in this way. So they're the whites. So we have 1, 2, and I need a third one here, 3. These whites are a little bit difficult to see, but I think we can still make them out. So there we have my negative 3. Okay? And I want to multiply this by x minus 1. So I want an x, and then I'm going to have a negative 1. So here is my negative. Alright? So I look at this now. Got to figure it out. I have a negative times a positive, so negative multiplied by positive will always give me a negative. So in here, I'm going to end up putting negative x, just like that. So I'll get negative x. Okay? And then we have another one here, so I put another negative x. And then a third one for another negative x. So I'm going this height and that width, which will give me negative x. Now we have this guy here. So I'm going to have to go to 1 by 1. What's a negative multiplied by a negative? That's going to give me a positive. And I'll have 2 more positives coming in here. Okay? So as my answer left with, I have 1, 2, 3. So negative 3x plus 1, 2, 3 plus 3. Now look at that, this negative 3, I had multiplied these 3 by both this x and that 1. Okay, and that negative 1. That gives me negative 3x plus 3. Alright, let's take a look at my last one here. I want x subtract 1 multiplied by 2x. So we have x, and we want to subtract 1, and we're multiplying that by 2x. So 1, 2, 2x's. Okay? Move this so we can see it better. Alright. So, first I must go this part here multiplied by this. I'm just going to shade this in a bit. So I have this part here multiplied by that, which will end up giving me x squared. Okay? Go right there. Getting x squared. Now, I'm going to have this multiplied by that. So height and width, which will give me another x squared. Okay? Now I want this negative multiplied by that positive. A negative multiplied by a positive is going to give me a negative. So I put in my negative there. Okay? And then we do that again for another negative. So what do I end up getting here when we multiply this together? This 2x got multiplied by, we did these 2x's by this, and we did these 2x's by that, to give us 2x squared, and subtract, what do we have here? 2x. And that's it. Okay? The next two here I'm going to leave up to you to do. So here's my next question. I have two diagrams. First, it wants us to state the polynomial in each diagram. Okay? Okay? So, what is a polynomial in each diagram? Both of them, I have 2x squareds minus x. So we're going to put that in. 2x, and it's going to be squared, and we want to take away x. So that is the formula for both of them. Now it says complete the left side of the top diagram, of diagram 1. So we want to complete that. So if I complete that, I need something multiplied by something here, right? If I look at this, we have something here multiplied by something there. Oops, something here multiplied by that. So my height is this, and my width, right there, and my width is going to be this guy. That's my width. Okay? So this one right here, still width of that guy, and my height is another x. So let's move this over. And put this guy right here. Okay? And on my last one, we have a width of this, and we have a height of that. And because it's going to be negative, we're going to have to put this little guy here. So we end up getting this there. Just like that. Okay? Now, what do I end up getting? I end up getting here. We'll look at that. Okay? So now let's do diagram 2, and we want a different formula to set it up. So I look at this here. Well, a negative times a negative is equal to positive, so I'm going to use negative. So I use this negative here, move that one there, and I'm going to use a negative over here. Okay? Then I need one more negative, because this is the width of that. And then now, what's a negative times a positive? I'm going to use a positive for this last one. And we end up making my perfect side. Okay? So, looking at this, I'm going to try and fill out the rest here. So state the polynomial in each diagram. We said it was 2x squared minus x, right? So 2x squared minus x. Now it says complete the left side of the diagram and write the product. Well, we completed it before. We had two positive greens, so that's 2x, and then we minus 1, and that was all multiplied by x. Okay? So notice, everything's multiplied out. Now we want to multiply diagram 2. What is it? I have 2 negative x, negative 2x, and this is plus 1, and this is being multiplied by negative x. I just put that in front. I could have put that behind as well. Okay? So write each now as a sum of different terms. So let's try that. So each of these is, we have 2x subtract 1 multiplied by x is equal to 2x squared minus x. And the other one, for part 2, we have negative x, and multiply that by negative 2x plus 1 is equal to 2x squared minus x. So they are the same thing. So E here wants us to put in 3 for every x. So we're going to first use this equation here. So I'm going to have 2, then I'm going to have x, which is 3, minus 1, and then I'm going to multiply that by 3 to give me 3 squared minus 3. Okay? So we have to go 2 times 3 is going to give me 6 minus 1. So we do our brackets first, multiplication in there. Multiply by 3 is going to give me 2 multiplied by 9 minus 3. 3 squared is 9. Okay? So this, 6 minus 1 will give me 5. Multiply by 3 is going to give me 18. Subtract 3. This is going to give me 15. This will give me 15. Okay? Now let's do my second one. Now I know this is already equal to 15 because we solved it in this one here. So I'm going to have 15. Let's see if it works. And it lines up with that one. I'm going to have negative 3 multiplied by negative 2 multiplied by 3 plus 1. Okay? So negative 3. Negative 2 multiplied by 3 will give me negative 6. And then we have plus 1. Negative 6 plus 1 will give me negative 5, so negative 3 multiplied by negative 5. And then we do this, and I'm going to get 15. Negative times negative is a positive. So 15 is equal to 15, so both of those work, and we just check. So now we're going to use the distributive property. We're just going to look over the questions that we did at the very beginning of class. So I have this 2 multiplied by x plus 1. And if you remember, the 2 must be multiplied by both x plus 1, those two ones on the side. and they must also be multiplied by the 1. So I end up getting 2x plus 2. For this one here, we have the negative 3 on the outside. This negative 3 must be multiplied by the x and also be multiplied by the negative 1, because everything on the outside must have been multiplied by everything on top. So I end up getting negative 3x, and negative times a negative is a positive, plus 3. Now this next one here, I look at this x must be multiplied by the 2x, so I get 2x squared, and this negative 1 must be multiplied by the 2x, which gives me negative 2x. Okay? Here's one more example. So I have x multiplied by x, which will give me x squared, and then x multiplied by 3 gives me plus 3x. Okay? It must be multiplied by both. So now let's make a rule for this distributive property. If I have a multiplied by b plus c, this is going to end up giving me a must be multiplied by b, so ab, plus, and a must be multiplied by c, ac. Okay? Or, if I go this way, b plus c multiplied by b must be multiplied by a, so I get ab, and c must be multiplied by a, which would give me plus ac. So they are essentially the same thing. Okay? So let's use the distributive property to solve these ones. I want to go 4 multiplied by 3x plus 1. So the 4 must be multiplied by this one and that one. So I'm going to get 12x plus 4. Okay? Here I have negative 5. Well, this here should be, and this should be plus x. There's no equal sign there. So negative 5 multiplied by 2x squared, which will give me negative 10x squared. And then we have plus x, but I have negative 5 multiplied by x will give me minus 5x. And then I'm going to go negative 5 multiplied by negative 6 gives me plus 30. Because the negative times a negative is a positive. Now this one here, I have to go x cubed multiplied by x squared, which will give me x to the 3 plus 2. Then I have negative 2 multiplied by x squared, which gives me negative 2x. I simplify this, I'm going to get x to the power of 5 minus 2x squared. That was squared there. Got that? Okay. Here's my next one. We're going to multiply negative 3x to everything. So I'm going to end up getting negative 21x to the power of squared, power of 2. Okay, because 3x multiplied by 7x. Then I go negative 3x multiplied by negative 2y. You know, a negative times a negative is a positive, so I'm going to get positive 6. And then we have x, y. Okay, because they're different bases. I can't combine them. Then negative 3x multiplied by z, and that's going to be negative. Negative times a positive is a negative, and I'm going to end up getting 3xz, and that's it. All right, I multiplied this whole thing into all 3. All right, so now let's expand and then simplify these following. So first, I have to do multiplication, right? Remember BEDMAS? Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So we're first going to do, we have 6, and then I have to go negative 4 multiplied by 8 is going to give me negative 32x. Then negative 4 multiplied by 1 is minus 4. Now I simplify this, I'm going to have a 6 and I subtract 4, which will give me positive 2. So it's going to be negative 32x plus 2. Okay, because this has an x, this can't be combined to those other two. Let's take a look at my next one here. We're going to have 4 multiplied by 2x minus 3, which give me 8x minus 12, right? 4 is multiplied into both. Then I have negative 2 multiplied into x, which will end up giving me negative 2x, and negative 2 multiplied into negative 6 will give me plus 12. Now I combine these. 8x subtract 2x will give me 6x. 12 plus 12, negative 12 plus 12 will give me 0. So my answer is just 6x. Alright, last one of these. Now I have this 5x multiplied into that trinomial. So 5x multiplied into that will give me 15x to the power of 3. Then I'm going to have 5x multiplied into 7x, which gives me negative 35. Negative 35x squared. And then we go 5x plus 1 will give me plus 5x. Now, there's an imaginary 1 here. So we have negative 1 multiplied into everything else. So I'm going to go negative 1 multiplied by 4x gives me negative 4x. And I go negative 1 multiplied by 3x squared will give me negative 3x squared. So now let's combine all my like terms. Cubes. I only have one cube, so I have 15x cubed. Now let's look at my squares. I have negative 35x squared and negative 3x squared, which give me negative 38x squared. Okay? Now we have 5x, subtract 4x will give me x. And that's a positive. And that is my answer. So now we're looking at my last set of questions. I want to solve these and find the area of each, and we're going to use two ways. The first way is adding two rectangles together. So I have two rectangles. I have this rectangle and that rectangle. So let's try this out. So area is equal to base times height plus base times height. Okay? So for this one, what is my base? My base is 3x plus 2. What is my height? My height is 2x. So I have 3x plus 2, and I'm multiplying that by 2x. All right? Now let's take a look at this one down here. My base is x plus 5. Oh, and we're going to add that. Sorry. So we add that, plus, we have x plus 5. Now what is my height? Well, if this whole thing is 4x, and this part here is 2x, 4x minus 2x gives me 2x for this. So my height is 2x. So now let's simplify this the best we can. So I have to go 2x multiplied by 3x will give me 6x squared, right? Because it has to multiply into that and then into that. So 2 multiplied by 2x gives me plus 4x. And we have to add. Here we have to go 2x multiplied by x gives me 2x squared. And then I'm going to have 2x multiplied by 5 gives me 10x. So altogether, I'm going to get 8x squared plus 14x, right? Because we combine all my like terms. I have this, and then I have these circles, right? Those go together, the squareds and the x's. Let's try the next one. The next one wants us to subtract. So we're going to look at this big shape here, and then we're going to subtract this little square from there, okay? So what is the big shape? We have 3x plus 2, so we want area is going to be equal to base times height, subtract, and this is the big one, subtract base times height, and we want the small one. Okay? So let's look at my big one. My base is 3x plus 2, and my height is 4x. Now we want to subtract my little one. Well, I know this part here is just 2x, because we use that from this here. So I have 2x multiplied by, now I have to figure out that. Okay? Well, if this is x plus 5, and this whole distance is 3x plus 2, what do we have to do? I'm going to go 3x plus 2 minus x plus 5 will give me that. So let's write that up over here. I'm going to end up getting negative 3, and then that's all in brackets, and then here I'm going to end up getting 2x minus 3. So multiply that by 2x minus 3. So let's multiply everything together. 4 multiplied by 4x multiplied by 3x gives me 12x squared. 2 multiplied by 4x gives me plus 8x, right? So this is multiplied to this one and that one. And I want to subtract, and keep these in brackets. 2x multiplied by 2x gives me 4x squared. And then 2x multiplied by negative 3 is negative 6x. Okay? Now, if we remember, there's a negative 1 there. There's really a 1 multiplied by that. So I'm going to have 12x squared plus 8x is equal. And then now, I have negative 1 multiplied by 4x gives me minus 4x squared. And then I have negative 1 multiplied by negative 6x will give me plus 6x. I combine all this together, 12x squared, these are my squares, and these are my non-squares, gives me 8x. 12x squared minus 4x squared, then I have 8x plus 6x will give me 14x. and my answers are the same. So that's how we solve it. There's two ways of doing it, and that's how you do it. Well, good luck. Hopefully you understood this, and as I see you tomorrow, we'll work on this together.